Good afternoon, YouTube. Wanted to follow up on the earlier video where I showed you these shift weights that we make for the early model Volkswagens. So this is for the A1, A2, and A3 platforms, if you can read that there. I'll put a link to this web page in the video description. But we work with the Rabbit Convertible, Cabriolet, Scirocco Mark 1 and 2, Jetta Mark 1, 2, 3, Rabbit Pickup, Golf, and Corrado models. This is just a typical example of some of the original factory parts and our upgraded replacement parts. So I showed you this weighted shift rod we make with the all metal rod ends, and that replaces this plain bent rod that the factory uses. These are some of the factory shift linkage pieces. They use molded plastic rod ends, and they're fixed, unadjustable, and one of the problems is these plastic clips here tend to get brittle and break over time, and then your shift linkage falls apart and you can't shift gears anymore. So we make, again, these all metal rod end replacements that fit onto the factory ball studs. So these parts will fit right over the factory ball studs. So we have replacements for, these are 5-speed A1 parts. We also have the 4-speed A1. It's just slightly different geometry. Then we have the A2 parts. Again, basically the same part, but just a different shape. This is what's called the relay shaft. I showed you that earlier. And this is the factory bushing here. It's kind of a squishy plastic part, and over time these bushings start to crack. You can see there's a crack starting on this one. So these parts, they're cheap, but they don't last very long, maybe 5, 6, 7 years, and then the polyurethane gets brittle and starts to crack and falls apart. We make replacements in UHMW, ultra-high molecular weight polyethylene. This is an oil-filled plastic, so it's self-lubricating. And then we also have the same part in Teflon, which is very slippery, and it's also very heat tolerant. And then we have these parts in 3D printed nylon. We'll be introducing those shortly. And then here's a part that we have. This is on the A1. This is a rubber ball, and we make a precision machine Delrin ball to replace that. Because again, this rubber gets brittle and cracks and falls apart. So instead of having to buy a whole new piece, we can just sell you the end, remove the old part, put the new part on, and you've got a brand new, better than original part. And then these here are what's called the shift rod bearings. And the way these work, there's a metal cage or bracket that holds these parts, and it holds the spherical bearing in here. This part, there's a rod that comes through here from your shifter between the driver and passenger seat, and that rod comes through this part and then is clamped into this part. And you can pull and push the rod. You can also rotate the shifter as you shift from first and second to third and fourth over to fifth and back and forth. And then first and second gear go back and forth. And that's what this spherical bearing does, is it lets that rod move around. But again, the factory part is this squishy polyurethane. So we make a machined polyethylene replacement that goes in just the same way and lets you do that same spherical motion. We also make a Teflon part, and the Teflon is pretty good for this application because right here is your exhaust pipe, and this plastic bushing is just inches away from it. So you can imagine that soft plastic gets hard and brittle after so many years sitting just inches away from this hot exhaust pipe right where my fingers are. So we have that part, and we have this for the A1s in a 14mm bore. We also have a 16mm for the A2 and A3s. And then we have replacements for the ball studs, because these sometimes get rusty, and once they get rusty, then the plastic rod end gets loose on there. You know, once some of this metal rusts away, it gets very loose and it gets very abrasive, so it grinds the plastic away and then gets sloppy and falls apart. So we can sell you a zinc plated replacement that bolts right in if you need to rebuild those. And then we also even have a replacement or an upgrade. This is a 5-speed part. The 4-speed part has the ball stud sitting about here, and so we sell an extension that can move that ball stud out to the end, because the 5-speed selector lever is longer than the 4-speed, because you have to reach from reverse, first and second, third and fourth, and then all the way over to 5th gear. So you've got to swing a long distance. On the 4-speed, you only have to go reverse, first, second, third, fourth. You don't have that extra distance over to 5th gear. So yeah, we have pretty much any part you can imagine. We've even got more stuff than this, but I just wanted to keep this as a short video, give you an idea of some of the parts we have. We can help you rebuild your A1, A2, or A3 Volkswagen. We've got the 4-speed, 5-speed parts, and for people converting from an automatic to a manual, you probably need shift linkage, so we can supply a lot of that. And these parts will last for years and years. I have the original Teflon bushings on my 82 pickup, and I think they're about 15, 16 years old, and they still work just fine. And I've got one of the original shift rod bearings that we made about 10 or 12 years ago, and it still works just fine. Yeah, so I'll put a link to our webpage down in the lower left corner if you want to find out more information. If you have any questions, you can drop us an email or post up in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.